Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. My name is Michael and today we will do a quick review of 3 new Seiko watches that have been released just recently. So what you're looking at are the new 40th anniversary Arnie models.
Put that cookie down! Now!
First of all, a big thank you to timeshop24.de. They were kind enough to send me these watches over for review. They are an authorized dealer of Seiko, Citizen, Tissot and many more. I will leave a link in the description down below, so feel free to check out their website. So when they asked me which model I would be interested in, I was going to choose the new Seiko GMT, but that watch had already been covered by so many watch reviewers that I decided to go for the new Seiko Arnie models instead. As mentioned before, Seiko released 3 new models. In the middle we have one with an all stainless steel construction. On the left we have a limited edition that is basically the exact same watch as the stainless steel, but it comes with a black PVD coating instead. And on the far right is my personal favorite of the bunch. It's the PADI edition that features blue accents on the bezel, the pushers and the hands. For those of you who don't know, this specific model is also known as the Arnie, named after Arnold Schwarzenegger, who wore it in the film Commando. This watch is a modern reinterpretation of Seiko's first hybrid diver, originally released in 1982. Hybrid because it combines an analog watch with a digital display. On top of that, this watch is operated by a solar quartz movement that has a ton of functions, but more on that later. Let's have a closer look on each watch, and in the end we will compare it with the previous version of the Arnie model and if this new release is actually worth it. We are going to start with the stainless steel variant. This is the SNJ033P1 and it retails at 699 euros. It comes with a fully stainless steel shroud and also with a stainless steel bracelet. If you unscrew the pushers, you'll notice the red and blue color. The bracelet is actually really nicely done. It's mostly brushed on top and it has these polished middle links. Unfortunately, it also comes with a pressed clasp and a pin and collar system, but it does have a diving extension, which is always nice to have. So, due to the fact that this watch is supposed to be actually taken on a dive, it comes with rather big dimensions. All 3 watches come in the same size. I measured it at a 46.5mm diameter, a case height of 14.3mm, a rather short and manageable lug-to-lug of 50.9mm, and a lug width of 22mm. Despite these enormous dimensions, this watch doesn't actually wear that big. I mean, it's a big chunk of watch on your arm, don't get me wrong, but it's not that crazy huge if you ask me. I could certainly pull it off on my 7-inch wrist, although I prefer watches in the 40mm size range. These watches have the words Divers 200 meters written on the dial. That means that they have been tested to withstand a water pressure of 200 meters. So you can and you should actually use them in the water. Protecting the dial is a flat piece of hardlex crystal. I mean, this is just one of these typical Seiko things. For the price they're charging, I would have wished for a sapphire crystal. But hey, there's nothing wrong with hardlex, I guess. I own several Seiko watches with hardlex crystals and they never seem to disappoint. The 120 click unidirectional bezel insert is made out of stainless steel. One thing that you might have noticed is that these models have an outrageous amount of pushers. Including the crown, there are a total of 4 pushers on the watch, one more than in the previous iteration. And I have to admit, it does look a bit ridiculous. But hey, I believe that that's the whole vibe Seiko are going for. These Arnie models are supposed to be big and chunky and just ridiculous. The reason why there is a 4th pusher now is because these models got equipped with a new solar powered quartz movement. It is the Seiko Caliber H855. It does feature a brand new dive mode with depth measuring, so you can monitor how deep and how often you dive. In addition to that, you have a chronograph function, dual time zones, alarms and a full auto calendar mode. Here's also a quick showcase on how to set the time on these. First of all, you need to unscrew the crown at the 3 o'clock position and also the crown at the 8 o'clock position. Then you need to pull out the crown to the first position so you can adjust the time and the date. Once you're finished, you push the crown in and the hands will adjust themselves. It's a really cool feature and really nice to see. It also happens once you open the box for the very first time. The watch will go into power saving mode when it's in the dark for a long period of time. As soon as the watch registers the light, it will come alive and adjust the time on its own. Obviously, these features are super useful if you are diving a lot in your free time. I don't do that, so I don't see myself ever using these. But hey, not everyone who likes dive watches goes actually diving, right? I mean, my collection mostly consists of divers and I've never been diving my whole life. Alright, next up is the all black SN037P1, which is the limited edition variant. Seiko made only 4,000 pieces of these. Each model is numbered and costs a little bit more than the previous version. The recommended retail price is €760. This watch is almost exactly the same as the previous one. The only two differences are of course the black PVD coating and the fact that we have a red seconds hands. Other than that, the pushers, the dial, the lume and everything else is the exact same. Personally, I really like the way they did the bracelet. It's really cool and stealthy, and of course it features the same kind of clasp and diver's extension. Here's a quick look on how it looks on my 7-inch wrist. Next up is my favorite of the bunch. It's the SNJ035P1. That's the PADI branded one. It's also the cheapest one out of the three. The SRP is €660. This watch has the PADI branding on the dial. I really like that because it makes the dial a bit more interesting. The other two dials were very basic, there's nothing much going on, but on this, I really like it, it's really beautiful. It has a blue minute hand and the first 15-minute markers on the bezel are also blue. If you unscrew the crowns, you'll see that unlike the previous two watches, this one is black and blue and not red and blue. So a really nice touch that goes really well with the overall design of the watch. This is the only one out of the three that has a black shroud, and it comes with a simple but comfortable black rubber strap. The hardware is unfortunately not branded on top but below the buckle. I don't know why, but it is what it is. Here's a quick wrist shot again. This is really comfortable and I really like how the rubber strap makes the watch sit very nicely on my wrist. I actually also have a fourth model here, and this is the older version of the Seiko Arnie. This is the SNJ031P1 Safari Edition and it retails at €530. So it's a bit cheaper than the other three. We can clearly spot the differences here. First of all, the digital display is on top of the dial and not at the bottom. Also, this watch features 2 pushers and a crown instead of 3 pushers and a crown. That's why this older variant is a bit more balanced in my opinion. The dial also features stick markers instead of dots, as on the newer ones. The 2 pushers are both red once unscrewed. Visually it appears that the older version were smaller, but after measuring it with my calipers, it's actually bigger than the new one. The old version comes in at a 47.4mm diameter and a 14.5mm thickness. The lug-to-lug is the same at 50.9, and the lug width is also 22mm. So very minor differences when it comes to the size, but rather big differences when it comes to the design. Which one do you guys prefer, the newer one or the older one? Please let me know in the comments down below. Let's just go over the lume shots real quick and finish up this video. Here you can see that the lume is actually different between the older and the newer models. If you press the upper button, it will illuminate the digital display as well, so you can always check the time in the middle of the night. Anyways guys, this marks the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching and please let me know which one of the new Arnie models is your favorite. This is Michael and don't forget,
I'll be back.
I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers!